Tonight, a suspicious fire in the Old East Village. The overnight flames forcing neighbors to evacuate. Plus, adjusting expectations.
We have to reflect on that. Things have changed.
City Hall now on track to miss environmental targets. And an extended run like never before.
We wanted to take this chance to add some more opportunity for people to come and to make it a season that exceeds our goals.
The Stratford Festival with an unprecedented performance calendar.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an overnight fire in the Old East Village, which London police have deemed suspicious. Fire crews say the flames ignited inside a home on Dufferin near Quebec just after 1 a.m. Today, there was significant damage visible throughout the home. Neighbors say an older couple had moved out of the property less than 2 months ago, and there were indications new owners were preparing to move in, but the home appeared to be unoccupied at the time. Damage is estimated at about $500,000. London city councillors could be in line for a substantial pay raise next term. Currently, councillors earn London's median full-time income, $67,000. Today, a task force discussed raising it to between the 65th and 75th percentiles, roughly $90,000 a year. They'd also get a 4% more for chairing a committee and 8% more if chosen as deputy mayor or budget chair. No changes to the mayor's compensation were considered.
We have got the message loud and clear that a council job is something that takes up all of a councillor's time if they're going to do it well. And so we're looking at pay so that it really aligns with that nature of the job. But with respect to mayoral pay, we think it's already there.
Staff at City Hall are admitting London won't reach its 2030 greenhouse gas target, which was set 6 years ago when a climate emergency was declared. Daryl Newcomb has more on what's taken the city off track from its environmental goals.
Londoners are making changes to reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions, but it hasn't been enough to reach our first milestone target.
It will require a longer period of time. It will not be 2030.
In April 2019, City Council declared a climate emergency, and 3 years later, London launched an action plan. But this annual progress report shows community emissions seen here in red are just 22% below the 2005 baseline, well above the line needed to reach our fair share milestone of 55% by 2030.
When we established this 3 years ago, the world was a different place. We have to reflect on that. Things have changed. Therefore, as we look into the future, there will be more heavy lifting.
Community-wide greenhouse gas emissions had dropped as low as 29% below 2005 levels. That was in 2021 at the peak of the pandemic. But since that time, those numbers have crept back up to pre-pandemic levels.
Doing the actions that we've outlined in the Climate Emergency Action Plan will not actually achieve our 2030 or 2050 targets, which I'm disappointed at because ultimately I think it's really important that we're making investments now to mitigate the impacts of climate change.
According to the progress report, just 4.6% of new vehicles purchased last year were EVs and 11.2% were hybrids. In addition, a provincial decision about power generation has reduced the benefits of electrification.
The province is adding more gas to our electrical grid, so emissions for the corporation are up 17% higher than they should be because of that.
To get back on track, the report suggests a continued focus on implementing the Mobility Master Plan, supporting the creation of energy-efficient homes, and recognizing positive actions.
We're not panicking because there is a long runway. We have to have the continued action and support at all levels of government and throughout the community.
Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Let's take a look at how things are shaping up in terms of the atmosphere. We're looking at clear skies for the most part. Across southern Ontario, it looks good. And tonight, cooler than expected, with temperatures dropping into the lower teens across portions of the southwest. That's good news. The ridge of high pressure keeps it quiet and clear tonight. tomorrow, increasing cloudiness due to an area of low pressure. We could see fog and then showers, maybe thunderstorms. Temperature right now, 23 comfortable degrees. Humidity has been kept in check. It is a beautiful end to the work week. Enjoy it this evening and be reminded of some wet weather coming for the weekend.
Thank you, Gary. London police say they've laid charges for a third time against a man accused of putting up hateful graffiti. Police say they were called to northwest London, where they found several hateful symbols and words on signs and other property. They say they arrested a man nearby, and he's been charged with mischief over $5,000. According to police, the 42-year-old suspect has previously been charged twice for hate-related graffiti at Emily Carr Public School. London police say they've charged 4 men with kidnapping and armed robbery. They say a 20-year-old man was forcibly removed from a Richmond Row apartment Sunday morning, who was then assaulted and driven to multiple banks at gunpoint. Police say the victim has minor injuries and knows each of the 4 suspects, all of whom remain in custody. Durham Region Police say a teenager was killed today, hit by a small plane that crashed on a lake north of Oshawa. According to police, the crash happened this afternoon. The pilot and a passenger were both taken to hospital with minor injuries. No other details on what caused the crash have been released publicly. The provincial government has ended full public video access for Ontario court proceedings. Those restrictions have been put in place in response to a recent rise in disruptions called Zoom bombings. With more, here's Michelle Molesky.
Britt LaRue was reading her victim impact statement when court was Zoom bombed.
Genitalia was in the courthouse. That's wild.
An unwelcome participant posted a pornographic video with sound for all to hear and see. The man accused of criminal harassment was being sentenced.
And I had to sit there while the court figured out what to do in that moment. And it was very uncomfortable being that close to him for that long and just sitting there.
All of a sudden, they're bombing us like almost every day, and it's horrific.
Criminal defense lawyer Patricia Brown has had her own hearings derailed by offensive language and comments.
They're essentially kind of taking over the court. It's extremely distracting. It causes a lot of disruption.
Citing a, quote, notable rise in Zoom bombings of Ontario court proceedings, the Ministry of the Attorney General announced this week the public will no longer have access to Zoom links. If the public would like to attend, they will be required to do so in person, the Assistant Deputy Attorney General wrote in a memo to court staff. Victims or complainants can get the links from the Crown's office or the witness assistance social workers. The media will have to formally request links going forward. And then each participant will have to identify themselves before being permitted access.
This is a tedious process to identify each and every person that wants to be a participant and wants to come into the courtroom.
But it's one Brown says is important because Zoom can be useful to protect victims and witnesses from the stress of being in person.
It kind of turned into a way that people knew they could victimize victims all over again. And that I'm glad the court stepped in to do something for that.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
Provincial health officials say most of Ontario's new measles cases reported in the last week are in Huron-Perth. They say out of 32 new cases across Ontario, 19 are from the Huron-Perth Health Region. That includes Stratford and popular Lake Huron beach spots. Public health experts have urged vaccination to slow down case spread, which is highly contagious. Fans of a popular video game from all over the world are in London this weekend for the annual Warframe convention.
I've met, people in Alabama and California, Puerto Rico, just everywhere.
There was a long line of Tenocon fans all the way around the block from Dundas to the Hilton on King Street. Warframe is a third-person action video game developed by London-based Digital Extremes. It has more than 80 million players worldwide. Organizers say tickets for this year's convention sold out in 10 minutes, and that didn't stop fans who weren't able to get a ticket from traveling and hoping a space might open up.
Point really, it's a waiting game. And if I get lucky, I get lucky. If not, I still can watch it just like everyone else. They're going to stream it live, so we can watch it that way. And I'm actually here on location, so I can semi-hear it, I can semi-see some stuff, so it's still a great experience.
Tourism London is launching a new marketing campaign aimed at bringing more Americans to Canada's UNESCO City of Music. With more on the pitch, touting the sounds of summer, here's Nick Paparella.
There's no doubt that summertime in London has a different and unique musical vibe. Now, Tourism London is trying to capitalize on our city's vibrant and growing music scene with a major U.S. marketing campaign.
The Summer Sounds Better Here campaign is really about celebrating London's identity as Canada's UNESCO City of Music. The idea was to really bottle down that experience of walking downtown on a summer night and hearing music in the distance from a festival or a venue or a patio, and then having London be the soundtrack to summer, and then inviting visitors to come experience that.
Tourism London Sean Murray says it's a multi-platform campaign blitz.
We've already launched some targeted digital ads with that Summer Sounds Better Here slogan. And it's obviously a nod to our musical identity, but there's some fun iterations with that as well that really highlight the variety we have here. So you can think of examples like patio season sounds better here, and you can imagine those glasses clinking, or your golf swing sounds better here, or live music sounds better here.
Mario Cercelli is chair of the London Music Awards and London Music Week.
Great volley by Tourism London. It makes perfect sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, the economic conditions are such where, the American purchasing power is they get 35% more coming here.
One of the strengths about being a UNESCO City of Music is it's not just about festivals or concerts. It's about tying music into everything that we do. And that's even like capturing small moments where you're having a drink outside on a patio and there's a live band.
The marketing campaign is targeting states like Michigan, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and cities that are within driving distance. Both Cercelli and Murray agree that London has plenty to offer.
We've already had great successes with Sunfest and Rock the Park, but there's going to be more events. There's an International Trombone Festival this weekend that we're hosting. Some exciting events in September, like East Park's return with Fairway Fest, or the brand new Rock the Runway hosted at London's International Airport.
Think about Food Fest and Rib Fest. There's always a local music component to that. Wortley Road Jazz and Blues Festival. London Music Week, where, they've honored 200 musicians, 300 musicians have performed. We're doing it, and we're showcasing London as best as we can. Now it's time for us to tell the rest of the world that we've got something going right here in London, Ontario.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
For the first time, the Stratford Festival is extending one of its shows into December. Jeff Pickle has more on the decision to make this season the festival's longest ever.
This is Uno, and then the other dog is named Clue.
For Harper Ray Ash, who plays Annie in the Stratford musical, it's been the role of her young career.
Things have been going great. The run has been awesome. It's so much fun to get to perform.
And now she's part of history.
I'm very excited because now Annie is going to be the longest running show in festival history.
For the first time ever, Stratford Festival extending a show 6 weeks right into mid-December, which Ash says makes total sense for Annie.
It starts about 2 weeks before Christmas, and our big finale scene is in Mr. Warbucks' mansion, and it's decorated for Christmas.
The festival also making the unprecedented move to extend 3 additional shows. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh, give me a home where Kardashians roam. Hey, it's Leo on the phone. He got a party going on.
Anne of Green Gables and Macbeth.
If we should fail, we fail. Your royal father is murdered.
So we're seeing this year sales are a nice bump ahead of the previous year.
After a sluggish 2024 season, the festival says it's looking to capitalize on a bounce-back year.
So we wanted to take this chance to add some more opportunity for people to come and to make it a season that exceeds our goals, so that we're on a balanced financial place.
But they acknowledge venturing into new territory is not without risk.
We don't know if this is going to work. We don't know what the weather's going to be like, so there is some risk there. But there is great benefit for giving opportunity for audiences to return or to try us for the first time.
For the young star of Annie,
It's a mix of nerves and excitement.
she is excited to do what she loves for longer. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Stratford.
Coming up, health officials issue a public warning after a bat tests positive for rabies. Plus, an Air Force search and rescue team parachutes at night, rescuing an injured hunter from the remote BC bush.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Who's hungry, London? Growing Chefs Ontario presents Londonlicious, July 18th to August 10th, spotlighting unique and delicious eats in the Forest City. Enter now at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win dinner for two at one of the amazing restaurants.
Local health officials are warning the public to be cautious after a recent positive rabies test in Chatham, Kent from a bat. Chris Campbell has more on the risks and the precautions you can take.
It's not unusual to spot a bat on a warm summer night, but if you find one behaving oddly, don't get too close.
This disease is 100% preventable.
Chatham-Kent Public Health says a bat recently tested positive for rabies, prompting a warning to steer clear of stray or aggressive animals, especially those acting unusually tame or sick. At the same time, the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit is also asking the public to report any contact, bites or scratches with a bat, no matter how small.
We know that rabies is circulating in wildlife in our region and in Ontario. We know that bats carry the virus. We know that skunks, raccoons, fox, and other species carry virus. So we should consider all of them an exposure, a potential exposure for humans, and make sure that we are away from the wildlife.
Medical Officer of Health Dr. Mehdi Alouche says if you're bitten or scratched by a bat or any unfamiliar animal, you should seek medical help immediately.
We haven't had a human case for decades, and that shows the importance of awareness of our population, of our community, that when they are exposed, they reach out for help.
This weekend, Point Pelee National Park is taking a different approach with a celebration of these flying mammals.
People shouldn't be scared of bats because they're part of a natural, healthy ecosystem. So when you see a great blue heron, you don't get freaked out. That's just an animal that lives in your world. Bats are like that.
CTV's own science and technology specialist Dan Riskin is hosting The Wonderful World of Bats Saturday evening, highlighting their importance in nature from pollination to pest control.
If you see bats flying around, you're not in any danger at all. If you touch a bat, you're vulnerable to rabies, because if the bat does have the disease, that's how you're going to get it. It's either going to scratch you or bite you. Even the smallest little bite can pass on the virus.
Public health officials say bats should be respected and protected, but never handled with bare hands. Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Search and rescuers in BC recently helped extricate an injured hunter from a remote mountainous area in the province's north. With more on their operation and the challenges they had to overcome, here's Michelle Brunoro.
What you're looking at is the infrared images taken over rugged terrain where an injured hunter was waiting for help.
We received a call approximately about 9 o'clock in the evening that a person was injured by a horse. It was 100 nautical miles west of Fort Nelson.
From the military's new Kingfisher aircraft, search and rescue technicians parachuted into the area Tuesday night. Look closely and you can see their parachutes floating down to the ground.
We had to take our time a little bit because the lighting conditions were low to set up and see if we were able to dispatch some jumpers.
Clouds broke, we had like a really good hole to get in there, and we got everything worked out for us. So we had the opportunity to jump and get down to that patient quickly.
The rescuers landed in a mountain meadow about 1 kilometer from the patient.
There wasn't really a path for them, so they just had to create their own path and beat through the bush. It took them about 35 minutes to get from where they landed to where the people were camping.
The injured hunter was in a remote canyon, and crews spent the night with him before a helicopter arrived the next morning.
It was a really big hoist, but we managed to get him out of the area. We flew him on the Cormorant to Fort Nelson, and then we transferred him back onto the Kingfisher in Fort Nelson, and then flew him to Prince George.
The mission was carried out without the use of flares because they didn't want to risk sparking a wildfire. With warm weather, more people are spending time outdoors, and they're urged to take precautions.
The big message is just for people to be prepared. Bring a spot beacon or Garmin InReach, or make sure that your family or friends are aware of what your plans are, where you plan on going to.
So if you find yourself in trouble, help can get to you faster. Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
An Ontario teenager says she's learned the hard way an unsafe beach warning should be taken seriously. Despite a quick dip in the water, she ended up in hospital with a serious E. coli infection. Adrian Gabriel has more on the risks that ramp up when the weather gets hot.
A red flag risk.
The worst temperatures for E. coli are right what we're seeing now, 30 degrees to 35 degrees.
With a heat warning in place for parts of Ontario, Quebec, and eastern Canada, cooling off in the lake can at times pose a shocking health risk.
I was bleeding. I couldn't keep anything down. I ended up throwing up and then running to the bathroom every 5 seconds.
Lindsay Page ended up in hospital for 10 days this month after a visit to Nickel Beach along the Ontario shores of Lake Erie.
We just kind of went in the water a couple times to cool off. I was about up to just under my chest area, I was right here.
While the beach she visited wasn't closed due to E. coli at the time, the 17-year-old was still diagnosed with an E. coli infection. Her doctors believe she was infected while swimming in Lake Erie.
They said I could feel the symptoms for up to 6 weeks.
While the beach Page swam at remains open today, across the country from Vancouver to PEI, multiple waterways from coast to coast are closed due to high E. coli levels. Warm summer weather across parts of the country is a contributing factor.
Almost an incubator for E. coli to reproduce and cause problems for swimming holes, for lakes.
Multiple studies have raised concerns about water safety tests on E. coli, often taking too long to alert the public of unsafe levels.
I really think it's important to keep up with the E. coli management.
One sure sign of dangerously high E. coli levels is a red flag like the one behind me. As for the heat wave, well, it's already lifted for here in southern Ontario. It's expected that by tomorrow, Quebec will get some reprieve, and by Monday, Atlantic Canada will be released from the sizzling summer temperatures. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And meteorologist Gary Archibald is with me tonight. Gary, you'd been hard-pressed to find, I think, a single cloud in the sky at points here in London today. It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. I agree, Carlyle, and it will be relatively pleasant, just cool tonight. That is through the overnight pre-dawn Saturday morning. Temperatures could drop close to about 13 degrees in the great city of London, Ontario today. High of 24. It's normally reaching 26 degrees at this time of the year. Humidity hasn't been much of a factor, so the temperatures we see here in the low 20s right across southern Ontario proper felt just a couple of degrees warmer than that throughout the afternoon. So 24, feeling like 26 right now. Very comfortable for a summer evening. And we're still looking at the potential of a clear night through the overnight. Ridge of high pressure in place, but then tomorrow, early in the morning, fog patches. We'll see some sunshine through to about 8, 9, 10 a.m. Increasing cloudiness for sure in the early afternoon. I think the probability of a shower and or thunderstorm combination is about 60, maybe 70%. But right now, enjoy this beautiful evening. Again, clear and cooling below seasonal as we head towards early Saturday morning. Here's the breakdown as we look towards the next 7 days, courtesy of our good friends at Metal Roof Outlet. I'm calling for those showers to develop if we do see thunderstorms. Also late in the afternoon Saturday, a high of 28, feels like about 35 plus. It's going to warm up for Saturday, cooling off yet again Sunday, mostly cloudy. Good chance of seeing morning showers. Then sunny to start the work week for most. Monday, 25. Fair weather Tuesday up to 28. Low 30s Wednesday, Thursday, and a chance of showers Wednesday, more so for Thursday. And then a week from now, cooling off again, mostly sunny on Friday, and a high of 24 degrees. Take a look at the Midwest. Similar looking forecast, AM fog and then patchy showers, thunderstorm potential moving through for the afternoon, warming up to 28, then down to 24, followed by 25 Sunday into Monday. Showers, possible rain in the morning Sunday, sunny and beautiful Monday, a comfortable mid-25 is what we'd like to see right across the board. Just very comfortable and pleasant, and you can do pretty much anything outdoors. Tuesday, Wednesday, still warm and seasonal. We'll look at showers possibly both days of the midweek towards Friday, cooling off yet again down to 23 degrees. That's a look at your 7-day forecast.
Seeing it being destroyed, not being able to do anything about it, it's very gutting.
Still ahead, a Prince Edward Island landlord forced to absorb significant losses after her tenants were finally evicted.
Coming up this weekend, we're hosting the iHeartRadio Pure Country Countdown, where we take a look at the biggest country songs in Canada this week.
And also find out how Luke Bryan embarrassed himself this time. Saturdays at 9, Sundays at 4. We'll see you there.
Union leaders representing thousands of Canada Post workers are telling those employees to reject the Crown Corporation's latest offer. The offer includes wage increases of more than 13% over 4 years. However, it would also add part-time workers for weekend deliveries, which the union has pushed back on throughout the negotiations. The two sides have been at an impasse for more than a year and a half now. The Canada Industrial Relations Board will facilitate the ratification vote starting next week. A landlord on Prince Edward Island says it took months to evict problematic tenants who left the property in a disgusting state. She thought she was renting to 3 university students and their mother, but says a dozen people ended up moving in. Maria Saru reports.
No cats. Kittens left behind after being bred in the bathroom, but that's not all coming out of the woodwork.
I'm in shock. I'm devastated. Seeing it being destroyed, not being able to do anything about it, it's very gutting.
Tamara DeVries is still discovering new damage after her former tenants were evicted Monday.
The kitchen is incredibly filthy. You can take a look at the fridge, the freezer. All the appliances are missing, cabinets are broken.
She thought there were 4. Instead, DeVries says 12 people, and at one point, 14 animals lived here. If it wasn't for the crown molding, this living room might be hard to recognize. The dining chairs are in pieces. One back door is missing. In total, there's about $80,000 in damages DeVries says she's on the hook for. And outside, things aren't much better. That's a hill of horse manure you see behind me, and it smells like it. DeVries says her former tenants dumped truckloads across the property, including the well, the main water source. It took 5 months to evict the family. Hearings with the PEI Regulatory and Appeals Commission, known as IRAC, were postponed. Tenants appealed, and the process dragged out.
I don't feel any protection. Not only that, but there is no consequences for the damages caused.
In a statement to CTV, IRAC said the timeline associated with the appeal process is dependent upon a number of factors, including complexity of the file. DeVries says for her, the damage is done. She's urging the province to make changes so others don't go through the same. Maria Saru, CTV News, New Glasgow, Prince Edward Island.
Losses in industrial stocks weighed on the Toronto market as Canada's main stock index finished lower. The TSX ended the week down 73 points. In New York, the Dow fell 142. The Nasdaq added 10. The Canadian dollar gained almost 1/5 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold added $13 an ounce and oil dropped 18 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, rumors of a Fleetwood Mac reunion have fans everywhere betting on the chain. Welcome back. Paramedics across Ontario are reporting soaring cases of workplace abuse and violence. As Pauline Chan reports, it's creating an environment where people who are supposed to save lives are fearing for their own.
Each time Halton paramedics head out on the job, they run the risk of facing abusive situations, and lately that risk has grown dramatically. Excerpts from paramedics' workplace reports show widespread verbal harassment, including racist and homophobic slurs and threats.
On pushing, shoving, grabbing or pulling them, that's not uncommon. There's also unwanted touching that occurs quite frequently, particularly with our female staff.
Chief Greg Sage says on a few occasions they've even pursued criminal charges.
We've had a number of paramedics that have had to seek medical attention after these interactions.
And there's a mental toll too.
This affects them not only at work, but it affects them when they go home. And it affects other members of the team as well.
Halton paramedics say they noticed a steep increase in these incidents with the pandemic. In 2020, there were 10 incidents of violence reported against Halton paramedics. In 2024, there were 254. Part of the increase may be due to a new form of reporting brought in at the end of 2022, but stats from the Paramedics Chiefs of Canada say 75% of Canadian paramedics say they have experienced violence on the job.
This needs to stop. It's not appropriate. Our paramedics need to be safe at work. Everybody's entitled to be safe in their workplace.
One thing Halton has brought back recently is peer support.
They help their colleagues navigate supports through the system. They'll help them debrief calls. They may help them bring forward concerns.
And starting this fall, Halton paramedics will be given special conflict avoidance training based on incidents taken from actual reports.
Our message to the federal government is we'd like them to amend the criminal code to include paramedics and other first responders, similar as peace officers are treated.
If things don't change, Chief Sage says there will continue to be a shortage of hundreds of paramedics in Ontario each year. Fewer people will sign up to train to become paramedics, and safety concerns for paramedics and the public will grow. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Federal wildfire authorities are warning of high risks still ahead for August. In the midst of an already devastating season, communities have been destroyed, smoky air lingering across multiple provinces, and lengthy evacuations forcing people from their homes. With the latest, here's Mike Locatour.
We're at the halfway point of the year, and while Canada isn't on track to break a record for wildfires, it could be the second worst year in the last decade. There are 561 wildfires burning across Canada right now, and conditions for the rest of the summer will be ripe for more. Still, federal officials say they're ready to protect communities.
Whether that's water bombers, whether that's a requirement for the Canadian Armed Forces to do an evacuation, whether that's helping with supplying things like fire hoses, whether that's it can be a broad assortment of matters that we're concerned with.
Officials say so far this year, wildfires have burned 5.5 million hectares of land. That's more than double the average over the last decade. To give you an idea of the scope, that's nearly 8 times the size of the Greater Toronto Area. Today, the federal government announced a $12 million investment over 4 years to establish the Wildfire Resilience Consortium of Canada.
It will connect domestic, international governments, the private sector, wildfire scientists and experts, and affected communities to share knowledge, science, and technology so we can fight fires better.
But it's not a national disaster agency, which was first considered 2 years ago during the record-setting wildfire season of 2023. And environmental researchers say prevention is also key.
There's absolutely a role to be played for different forms of forest management, including control burns, including various types of timber harvesting and things like that, that can be done to reduce the amount of fuel that's on the landscape.
But Kaplan is adamant. He says the big fires we're seeing now are being driven by climate change. And he adds the best way to mitigate the fires is to get a handle on greenhouse gas emissions. Mike Locouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new report from municipal staff in Jasper, Alberta suggests the provincial government's involvement in the wildfire response made things worse than they needed to be. The report indicates the Alberta government made regular requests for information and wanted to be the decision-making authority, which made things more difficult for wildfire management teams. A third of the town's buildings were destroyed in the fire. Alberta government officials say they are working on a response to the report. Executives at the American television network CBS have canceled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
Colbert took over in 2015, replacing longtime host David Letterman. It's been one of the highest-rated late-night shows, but a source close to the network says it's no longer profitable. On air, Colbert said he also would not be replaced. And according to CBS, the decision is purely a financial one, but it has raised questions because Colbert has long been a staunch critic of President Donald Trump. And the cancellation also comes just days after CBS settled a $16 million lawsuit with the president. Fleetwood Mac are stoking rumors of a potential reunion. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham posted corresponding song lyrics on Instagram, fueling speculation. The former couple have long had a contentious relationship. Buckingham has blamed Nicks for kicking him out of the band back in 2018, while Nicks has said it would be hard to do a reunion without Christine McVie, who died in 2022.
Let's take a look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thank you, Teresa, for sending in this great image of the storm coming. Well, today was, relatively speaking, just beautiful, comfortable, and clear of active weather. But the weekend, we could see fog patches to start things off in the morning Saturday with increasing cloudiness and a good chance of showers and/or thunderstorms Saturday afternoon.
The European Union and the United Kingdom are ramping up pressure on Russia over the invasion into Ukraine. The EU foreign policy chief posted on social media this morning saying, "We are standing firm." The EU just approved one of its strongest sanctions packages against Russia to date. We're cutting the Kremlin's war budget further, going after another 105 Shadow Fleet ships, their enablers, and limiting Russian banks' access to funding. The Ukrainian president welcomed the news, describing the measures as timely and necessary. Also today, Britain imposed sanctions on units of Russia's military intelligence service. The list includes 18 officers who the UK says helped plan a bomb attack on theaters in southern Ukraine in 2022. President Donald Trump has ordered the release of more documents related to the late sex predator Jeffrey Epstein. According to Trump, he's asked the Attorney General to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval in response to what he calls the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Epstein. This all comes after the Wall Street Journal published allegations President Trump signed a letter to Epstein in 2003, which featured a lewd drawing. Trump has denied signing the letter, calling it fake, and today took action to sue the publishers. Parks Canada officials have ended hiking permits for a World Heritage Site west of Calgary because of repeated fossil thefts. They say it's about protecting natural resources, but hikers who frequent the park want other solutions explored. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
Shale holds some of the oldest soft tissue fossils in the world, but more have been stolen, so hikers can no longer reach the top of this mountain revered as one of the best summits in British Columbia's Yoho National Park.
That's a new change that we've implemented for this year. We just felt that it was important to protect this irreplaceable resource.
Parks Canada will not be giving out the permits which previously allowed hikers to summit Mount Stephen. In August, 2 American men hiking without permits went into the protected site and took fossils, later facing fines of nearly $5,000 each.
We were alerted to their presence and were able to apprehend them. When we did, we found that they had removed 6 Burgess Shale fossils.
You can still take guided hikes to the shale, but there's no way to summit now, and that's disappointing to some people in the scrambling community. Doug Robson of Calgary dreams of reaching 180 popular peaks, and Stephen is one of them.
It's a goal that I would get it done. There's other people that would like to do it too.
In 2022, Parks Canada recovered 45 fossils a Montreal man illegally removed from the area. The warden says sometimes people with permits grab a souvenir. In other cases, money is the motivator.
Just like anything that's rare, there would be a value on the black market for these fossils.
Researchers say the 500-million-year-old fossils have uncovered many previously unknown species.
They are much, much older than the first dinosaurs. If we want to understand where we come from, we need to protect this resource.
Some hikers wish there could be discussions about how they could allow some people to summit.
So I don't feel it's people like myself or playing the mountains. They're about protecting the environment, not taking from the environment. I'd like to have a conversation about it rather than just shut it down.
Parks Canada says it tried to strike a balance with its decision.
We're doing this for all the right reasons. We're not stopping people from hiking in other areas. I would hope that they would understand why we've made this decision.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. A cat in eastern Ontario made famous for its weight loss journey has inspired a new rescue, helping other overweight felines shed their extra pounds. Peter Sperling reports.
Biggie Smalls came by his first name, honestly.
He was 4 times the size of the average cat.
A year and a half ago, Biggie captured the world's attention.
You can do it.
Weighing in at 43 pounds.
Look at you.
And while he is still big, his last name no longer seems so quite ironic.
He weighs just over 26 now, and he's lost 16 pounds since he's came into care.
Christine Sagan rescued Biggie Smalls, helping him to lose weight.
So I was initially fostering him, and he could not walk out the bathroom door. He could not walk barely to his litter box. All of his food and things had to be brought to him.
With a goal of shedding even more, he already feels better.
He is so confident, so bright, and he's just a lot of fun.
And that weight loss journey, inspiring.
We're in the Big House Sanctuary and Rehab. It's our garage converted into a sanctuary space for overweight cats.
Launching a not-for-profit animal rescue for overweight cats.
When we got Biggie, we got so many shelters that reached out saying, do you know any rescues or places that we can send these severely, extremely overweight cats? And there was nothing in the world I could find. And then I thought, why not try to create something like this?
So she created this with a goal of giving cats an extra life. There's Kilo. He's 27 pounds, here only a week so far. 14-year-old Maple, now just under 20 pounds. And Cookie, who is ready for adoption.
Each of these felines has his or her own story as to how they got to be plus-sized, but now they're on a path to a healthier cat lifestyle.
We meet all their medical needs, what medications, surgeries, things they need, and then they're ready for adoption, and those barriers are dropped. So people are more open to taking on one of these cats.
There are 5 cats here now, with more on the way, all getting a second chance, thanks to Biggie Smalls.
For us, giving other cats that chance just makes my heart super happy.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
And finally tonight, a new poll looking into a possible societal shift when it comes to political correctness. With more on the trend and what it could mean for Canada's popular discourse, here's Craig Krause.
Your typical sounds of downtown Vancouver begin to shift once the sun sets.
Welcome to Comedy After Dark.
It's here where rumbles of laughter leak out onto the streets.
Popularity of comedy, is that growing in recent years?
Oh, yes. Yeah, comedy's exploded.
Comedy After Dark plays host to dozens of comedians every week. And for Susie Rossum, she has watched the pendulum of material swing.
Well, it felt like it really went one way for a while, and it was very politically correct. But it's getting to a point where there's a lot more freedom, I think, to say what you think.
According to a new survey from Research Co., about a third of Canadians believe comedians should always or most of the time behave in a politically correct way.
You know, anybody that says words hurt has never been punched in the face.
Aside from comedians, the same poll shows the concept of political correctness is on the rise on both sides of the border.
Well, when we first asked about this question back in 2020, we actually had a larger proportion of Americans, 53%, who believed in the concept of a political correctness. And in Canada, we were at 50%. Last time we checked back in 2022, Canada went to 55%, and now it's at 59%.
Politically, the data shows 45% of Canadians who voted for the Conservatives in this year's federal election reject the concept of political correctness.
There's a significant chasm there that we just don't see with the Liberals or the New Democrats.
Some say political correctness has diminished too much, while others disagree.
I feel like where we are right now, it's like very dangerous.
I think we're just right.
Although some may disagree what's politically correct or not, Rossum says hate has no room in society or comedy.
Be a risk taker. And I think that we need to do more of that in this life in general, not just in comedy, you know? People are so safe all the time.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.